Hello, I'm Reverend Dr. Brittany Longsdorf, and I'm the Multifaith Chaplain at Bates College. And I want to share a little bit with you today about why meditation is a good practice, easy ways to start, and then at the very end, we'll do a short meditation practice together. So we should start with why meditation. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of medical journals and reports that say meditation is good for you. Meditation and mindfulness has been proven scientifically to significantly improve mental and physical and emotional health. And so there's a lot of research out there if you want to dig into it about why meditation can benefit you. There's even things for college students talking about how meditation can improve GPA, significant studies about mental capacity as well as emotional health. And so I encourage you to look at that research if you'd like to. But as a multi-faith chaplain, I often talk about meditation as being important to give us moments of pause. There in monastic traditions, there's this sacred word called statio, which is this holy pause between things that we're not always particularly good at in our busy culture, taking that moment to breathe and focus on the new thing that's coming up or that we're entering to, and also breathing and letting go of the thing that we just accomplished or did, or the class we just had, or the meeting. And so creating meditative pauses in our day, in our life, in our week, help us reflect and discern and be intentional about the choices we make in our day and the paths we take in our life. And so I often talk about meditation as giving us those holy pauses, those sacred moments for reflection amidst a very busy life. I also would offer that meditation helps us feel connected to source, whatever that source is for you. If you believe in some sacred entity in the world, if you believe in love or human connection, if you believe in a social justice cause that is worth fighting for, meditation helps you connect to that purpose, that source, that feeling that there is something bigger than you going on in the world. And one reason I love meditation and find meditation to be such a helpful tool for all of us is because it's easy, relatively. It's accessible, it's adaptable, it can be short or long. You can work it into your day however you need it to be. Many things can have meditative elements and forms, so it doesn't always just have to be sitting in silence. There are several different ways to meditate, which we'll talk about in a moment, that can adapt to your lifestyle and your needs for meditation. And I would also add why now to start a meditative practice. And something we've seen a lot in the multi-faith chaplaincy at Bates is that given COVID-19 and many other rampant issues in our world, there's so much uncertainty and so much stress and anxiety that is dealt with in an unexpected way and on a daily basis, that we're seeing much desire in our community here at Bates for more rooting rituals, more daily and weekly practices that help us to center and feel connected, and also something that feels the same when everything is changing all around you has become a really wonderful way for meditation to play into our lives as a centering practice in this moment of uncertainty. So if you've never meditated and are thinking about starting a meditation practice, now is actually a great time, and it could offer you a lot of respite and reflection and centeredness during this time. So how do I start? How do you start meditation if you've never done it before, or if you did a long time ago and are trying to think of doing it again, or want to try a different form? I always tell folks that the key to starting any spiritual practice, but meditation practice, whether it's secular or spiritual, is about setting intention and giving yourself permission. So setting intention can look a lot of different ways. It can be carving out a certain time of day every day, or a certain time of week every week. It can be telling a friend or a family member that you're doing it so that someone can keep you accountable, and then it can be put out into the universe that you are now meditating. It can be something like lighting a candle, which I've done right here, or ringing a bell, or setting a timer, or going into a certain room in your house or your apartment each time you do it, or wearing a scarf or a certain piece of clothing that signals this is now meditative time. This is time set apart, and I am setting an intention to be doing this practice in this time and in this space and in this way. And giving yourself permission is almost just as much pivotal in this practice, in that when trying meditation and trying any kind of rooting ritual, It can feel very strange at first. It can feel difficult. Many people have significant imposter syndrome in these practices. And I just invite you with your heart and your mind and your body to give yourself permission to be there, to be in it, to be trying it, to be genuine and authentic in your practice and in your attempts. And know that there's a reason we call spiritual practice and meditation practice. It is something we come to as beginners over and over again. There is no such thing as a person who is perfect at meditation. So find comfort in that and give yourself a lot of intention and permission when you start a meditation practice or try meditating on your own. So 3 simple practices that I would recommend you try if you're interested in trying meditation for the first time or cultivating a new practice or bringing it back into your life in some way. The first is sort of, I think, what we would think of as traditional when thinking of meditation. It's sort of a silence, sitting, emptying practice. So for this kind of meditation, you typically want to sit on the ground or on a couch and keep your back as straight as possible. Keep your hands resting in your lap, typically palms up, and take some deep breaths and center yourself into the present moment, into the present space. Try to let go of all the things you've done earlier today and all the things you have to do after, and just breathe and be in your body, in that space, in that moment, and cultivate presence. And this is a form of meditation that sometimes in sacred rhetoric is called via negativa, so emptying yourself out, trying to just be a vessel and be present without letting your mind sort of flit and float around to everything that it can worry about or grasp onto, or everything that you've yet to do that day. In Buddhist traditions, this is sometimes called monkey mind. And one way to cultivate this sort of emptying practice, if you're new to it, is to try counting, which gives you a little something to do, but not too much to do where your mind can really run away with you. And so an easy practice of emptying and sort of quiet meditation is to count to 100 and try to count to 100 without thinking of anything else. And as soon as you do think of something else, you start again at 1. And this is a very difficult practice. It seems simple, but it has taken me years to cultivate to get to 100. And even now, I'm not always successful at it. And so I would invite you, if you're trying a silent sit and trying an emptying presence meditation practice and want a tool to start with, that counting to 100 without thinking of other things can be a really good practice to start you off. A second practice I would suggest, if the practice of emptying out isn't the meditation that you're feeling pulled to or called to right now, is the practice of meditating with a piece of art or a piece of text. And this is kind of a more of taking in and dwelling with that text or that art piece in front of you, and really spending intentional time with something that might reveal to you some of your inner life and thoughts and sources for connectedness and sources for reflection. And this has been done in several traditions for centuries and millennia, to take a sacred text and sort of read it several times over in the same setting in silence, and try to find words and phrases that you can pull from it that are particularly speaking to you right now, and then to sit in silence and ponder what those pullings and inner workings seem to mean for you. And you could also do this with art. There's an ancient practice called Visio Divina of looking at art or photograph in the same way and spending intentional time with an image, which we rarely do in our culture. We spend maybe a second and a half looking at any photograph or any picture at a museum, but taking 20, 30 minutes to spend with one image and see what that image can reveal to you through meditation and intentional sacred looking can be a really powerful form of meditation and a wonderful experience. So I invite you to do this sort of meditative act of dwelling with a text or with an art piece, if that feels like a meditative practice that might be a little bit more suited to you and interesting to you. The third meditation practice I would offer is that there's a really growing field of movement meditation, that particularly running, swimming, and walking can be wonderful forms of meditation, and that This comes out of a tradition of spiritual practices as being embodied practices, of being less about interpreting something in your mind and more about feeling something in your body. And so movement meditation is a great way to walk intentionally or run or swim and be present to your breath and your body and let your mind empty out, similar to the first practice we talked about. So the way this is done is by setting the intention before you move. It's not just like any other run or walk, and to focus on your breath and to observe silence and try to let your mind empty out as you move and just focus on your feet touching the earth or your arms moving through water and your breath coming in and out, and let that be a source of meditation for you as you move. There are so many wonderful resources for cultivating meditative practice that are virtual and online. If you are looking at doing this more intentionally and would like a continual guide along this path, there are great apps like Calm and Headspace. There's a wonderful array of YouTube videos if you simply type in guided meditation or silent meditation or art meditation. We also have on our website a link at bates.edu/chaplaincy, a tab actually for local and online worship services. And that includes some links that our community members have offered to us from the Bates community for online Zen and meditation opportunities. If you want to be in a virtual community of meditators and get to try meditation with an established meditating community in a really invitational and kind of low stakes way, I would invite you to explore that as an option too. So thank you for letting me share a little bit about meditation and why it's important and why it can be a wonderful practice and how you can adapt it to your life, and 3 different ways that you could try meditation if you're new: the silence and emptying meditation, meditation with art or a text, and a movement meditation. And now together I'm going to have us take 5 minutes out of our days to just meditate together. So in a moment I will ring a bell, and that will be my act of setting intention. And as that bell kind of reverberates through your screen, let yourself feel centered into your chair or onto your floor. And take 5 minutes, give yourself full permission to be present in the space and focus on breathing and try to empty out your mind. And we'll hold silence together other than me occasionally calling you to refocus or to breathe. And I will ring the bell once again to close us out of this time together. Focus on your breathing. If you're able, inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Go ahead and do this 3 times on your own. pull yourself fully present into this moment. Let go of all the things you've done today, all the things you've yet to do, and be here. Be present. Breathe and be still. Let the silence hold. Center and focus on your breath. If thoughts appear in your mind, just let them float past you like a boat on a river. Don't hold on to them. Just breathe and be still and be present. Take 3 intentional breaths again together, in through the nose and out through the mouth before we close our time. Thank you for sharing in that meditation with me, and I wish you well on your journey of finding rooting rituals and practices during this time. Take care.